guys, I hope you are doing good. Welcome to the third video in the series. Here we are going to implement a function to flatten an array. As you can see, this is one of the most common interview question which is been asked in Meta, ThoughtSpot and a number of interviews. We have to write a polyfill without using ES6 features to flatten an n-depth array. So let's see how you can do this. We have an array which can be of any depth. We have to flatten it and we have to return all the values of the multidimensional array as a single dimensional array. So let's see how you can implement this. Here, let me copy this input and I'll create an array const array, and then here I'm going to create the function const flatten, and then this will accept the array as input, and then we'll have the result will be the temporary array that we are going to use to store the flattened array's value. And now let I equals to 0, I is less than arr.length and I plus plus. Let's iterate over the array using the normal for loop, and here I'm going to get the value at the current index of the array. I'm going to check if array dot is array value. So if the value is of type array, then we are going to recursively call the same function with the value, and we'll pass the result reference to it. Otherwise, we are going to push the value in the result. At the end, we are going to return the result. So this will recursively call the same function. If the value at the current index is of type array, it will process it further, store it in the result, and then return back. So we should have all the values flattened at a single dimension, and we should get it with the help of this flatten array. And now if I invoke this, so console.log flatten, and let's say if I pass this arr, we should have the flattened array. So you see, we got our flattened array in the list. In the order they are added. So 1, 1.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Another way with which you can implement this is, let me drag this down, let me comment this one. So you can use a more cleaner approach using the array.reduce. So we got the array, and here we are going to return array.reduce, and the first value is the flat or the result, and the second value is what has to be flattened, and this we have a start value which will be the empty array, and here we are going to return flat, which is the result. Let me call this as the result so that it is easier for you to understand. So result dot concat, because we are not using the modern ES6 feature, otherwise you can use the spread operator to merge this. So here I am using contact array dot is array to flatten, then we recursively call the flatten with the to flatten, otherwise we return the to flatten because this is a normal value, and this should do the work. This is the same function that we have written, but we are using the array.reduce method to make it more cleaner, and if I run this, we should get the same output. So see, we are getting 1, 1.1, 2, 3, and 4. Same thing but with two different approaches. This is more easier to understand, and this is more advanced, so a senior engineer would write the code like this using the modern methods to make it more readable and easier. Another way is using the native methods. So we already have a native method available in the JavaScript which you can use, so which is arr.flat, and then in the flat you have to pass the depth. So let's say if I pass the depth as 1, and if comment this one, then this should flat to only one depth. So see, it has only flattened the array of one depth, which is 4 and 5. This is the single depth. So it accepts the depth count to which you want to flatten to. We can pass the infinite or infinity. This will flatten to any depth or the infinite depth, and we get the same result. So we have this method available, but this is a general polyfill to evaluate your program solving skills and how better do you understand things in JavaScript. So this is how you can implement this. You could be also asked to create a prototype on the array, so you can use this function and apply it. We'll learn more about this, how to write polyfills, when we are going to implement the array.filter and array.map. So there you will learn how to extend the methods with the prototype, and on that you can attach this flatten in case required. Thank you.